And that's the other thing. When we see the character, I can't remember what the main character's name is. He has a name, right? Because so
I remember there were a few names.
Yeah, so the real broad stroke here is this triplet has resurfaced, and an agency that handles these guys, a gal who is on her, like she was ready. It's always that, like, I was ready to retire and they pulled me back in. So she was heading to another job, but she's got one last job to do, and that's wrangle in this triplet.
And they need Cowboy, Ninja, Viking to do it.
To do it and to help him.
Call in Rambo.
And
his methods are unorthodox.
And so they send a suit and this gal, and I think her name is Nix, and so they make all the calls to make this happen, and they go to meet our hero, Cowboy, Ninja, Viking, on his grounds or wherever, and this guy gets lippy with them, and that's when his head gets chopped off.
Yeah, and so I really like I almost want to take a break and talk about the art a little bit.
Definitely.
Because I really like, this is probably the best panel when he chops the guy's head in half, but it's very detailed and like somewhat like not consistent with the rest of everything else.
Right. Whenever
I wish I had that much detail in everything. Sometimes you'll get detail, but like, I don't know, like, I think the art is pretty, but sometimes it's not as functional as I would want it to be. You know, like, just to be able to identify characters a little bit more easily.
Right. I can see that.
Like, if you look at the page before where there's, like, a zoom-out shot of a bunch of people, like, any one of those people could be any of them.
Yeah.
You know? And that's not even that zoomed out.
Yeah. He also does a very cool thing with these layover dot patterns. And they're not even dot patterns. They're
for, like, the texture of... I do like that. It looks pretty.
Yeah, they're not even dot patterns. Some of them are like little weaves and stuff. Oh, it's so cool looking.
Yeah, like a newspaper, like you'd see it in a newspaper.
Yeah. Also,
and there's cool framing edges, but it's just like, it's not like I like the way the paneling is done, but it's not consistent, I guess. Like, I like when on some of the paneling there's these really rough, thick edges. But not all, like, I don't know when or why.
Right.
Like, it's almost like there's these things where it's like, I want them to be secret hints or clues, but they're not.
I get it. Also, we didn't talk about how, like, the story jumps around.
The story jumps around a lot within a timeline, and it makes it kind of tough to...
It makes it...
Well, it wasn't that, like, it does explain it, but it
explains it in a joke. So here we are 3 days earlier.
Yeah, we haven't been mentioning any of the jokes, really, because the jokes are all very detailed.
Yeah, but this particular joke is 3 days earlier, and then they jump to 4 days, a week earlier, and if you're keeping track, you know, like...
Yeah, it's like, okay, but... And I actually did like that joke because I was thinking like, oh shoot, when did we start?
So it got you.
Yeah, but I'm not a big fan of timeline jumps.
Right. Or
like too frequently, I guess.
Yeah, this was a comic that really made you work hard to stay on top of what, I mean, you get the broad strokes, but
well, and especially because a lot of the characters like weren't like, you didn't get their names, and they weren't super like, it almost like was like this could be a new character, or it might be the person from 5 pages ago. Right,
because like now I'm looking at this like silly like, so 3 days earlier I'm looking at the suit, and then if you go one page next, you're in Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
And we meet the big boss who runs this organization, And you see his butler, and his butler looks just like the suit.
Yeah.
Like, what? It suffers a little bit from same face.
Yeah, it makes it a little tougher. Well, and just because like, sometimes the faces have really good detail, but just most of the times they don't.
Oh, but what a great style.
But they look nice, is the thing. It's just the function over the form.
Right. The style is just so amazing. Like this panel in Monte Carlo is with this back and forth conversation with this was really funny too, because like this guy has the opportunity to have sex with page 34 of the Sports Illustrated. But then like she says you don't have time for that because we got a sighting of whatever, the one that they want to get.
Yeah,
the big fish
triplet.
that we found a triplet and we need to take care of it. And he's like, all right, I'll be on the next plane. So, and she's like,
she's like, what about page, whatever, 34? He's like, well, the twins from page 26 are in New York.
which is where he's heading. I thought that was a pretty funny line.
That was a pretty good line.
And then also like his line to his secretary or this gal by the pool who is just like, we just got here, and we've been here for 3 weeks.
Yeah, that was a good little trick line. And actually, I think that the opening scene with the guy on the boat had some of the funniest lines, but I almost wish that set of scene was in the middle of the book rather than at the beginning, because it totally tricked me thinking that the guy on the boat was Chicken Airplane Soldier, when really he was a different triplet.
Right.
He was our main character, good guy at first.
Spoiler alert.
In the first 5 panels, he's, because I don't know enough about this world. Like, I don't even know what a triplet is, essentially, at this point.
Right.
Like, I just know this guy's a crazy character.
Yeah, what a wacky character, right? At the beginning of the book.
That's a great one. He's oceanographer as one of his 3 things.
And he goes diving, and like the funniest thing is he's not an oceanographer. This
is a great line. He says, "Are either of you a tenured professor of what is universally considered the Harvard of the 2-year marine biology institutions?
And then
you have a card certifying you as a master scuba diver?"
And then the best part is like, we're not even in that ocean.
We're not even in that ocean, and scuba diver isn't spelled with a 6. I kind of butchered that line. I can't believe I had to read it so many times.
He's so silly. It's so silly, but spoiler alert.
But then you don't know, but it's like, okay, so then they're not even actually in the Indian Ocean. I don't know. I liked the scene, but I just thought it was a bad choice as the first scene of the first comic.
I thought it was funny, but it did get me lost a little bit, and I stayed with it. And then now I'm looking at this 1 week or
But like if I'd picked up the comic without reading the summary at the beginning, and I was like, oh, I'll just read the first 5 pages and see what it's about, I wouldn't have gotten anything of what it actually was about. I would have gotten a funny scene, and it would have been characters that kind of build on it, but it's not really it's not the core, I guess.
Uh-huh.
But very funny. Yeah.
I'm just looking at this art. The art is really cool. We do eventually meet our hero. Mm-hmm. And he is it looks like he's getting back his axe and guns and swords from a pawn shop, and he's using the drugs that are supposed to make him well or stable as the cash to get these things back.
Which is great, because then that's a good hook to be like, oh, I wonder how these guys will go crazy. But there was also a cool cut where it was like the 3 heads were discussing between each other, like, which ones the medicine was for.
Right.
Like, I think it's cool. Like, to me, I like the concept of, like, really going into, like, what's the difference between how a ninja would attack the situation and a Viking, you know, and which head will prevail in different situations, I think is kind of a cool roll of the dice.
It is a funny scene, and that's a good point, yeah, because like they are all three having this conversation as to which drugs they're willing to let go of, and they even get into an argument over some sort of like drug that will make your sex look like a laser light show, and like they're like, do you really think this guy whose name is Pawn Shop Joe is cares about that, you know, as any opportunity to, and like, good point, you know, so they ended up, whatever drugs they ended up giving him, and like, and like, Pawn Shop Joe is so quick to be like, done, you know, like, cash is cash, but crazy drugs are awesome.
Yeah, crazy drugs.
Yeah, so then we realized that, Nix, this, the lady that was on her way to the Washington State job, not Washington State, the she had a big wig job with the president. Like
with the president, he insists I call him the president.
Yeah, and so she is stuck with this cowboy ninja Viking. She's gonna handle the situation. They get him back to the secret laboratory where they give him the job, and the job is we gotta capture one more triplet who is out there on the loose.
What's his the guy
I wouldn't even try to say his name. It's like,
but he's got a cool last name, or like a easy last name.
What is his last name? It's something. I'm looking it up right now. Ammo.
Ammo.
Yeah,
it's Ammo. And Ammo, so Ammo is this oceanographer guy. But, okay, go to the last panel, Larry.
I'm looking at it. So here's the big spoiler and the big reveal is the oceanographer guy that we met in the beginning. What is he? Is he a pirate, a beekeeper, and an oceanographer?
Beekeeper, is that what it is?
But what's his maybe he's a fencer. But what is the word bubble over his...
Oh, yeah, the word bubble is like a trident.
Has a trident, so what, like...
He's got a weird mask on his face.
Yeah. So that's his triplet.
A weird hat.
And a weird hat. It almost looks like
he's pirate and oceanographer? Like, that seems like a little bit of an overlap.
Well...
Like, diversify your portfolio a little bit.
And he's trying to get on a plane. That's the other thing.
And the guy who's not a pirate or an oceanographer has a trident. Maybe he's like a farmer with...
But he looks like a beekeeper. And he is like a kind of like one of those like Spanish conquistador helmets.
Yeah, and he does have, like, when you see him zoomed out, he does have the trident and the conquistador sword.
Okay.
I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to learn more about him. And
maybe it's a hook, but maybe it feels like it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Issue 2 is going to... All will be revealed. So, James, did we find your new favorite comic?
You found my second favorite comic.
Me too!
Oh, man, Larry, we're stride and stride.
We'll see how long it lasts. So,
I wonder how long it'll last.
This is fun. This is super fun. This was a good comic, and this art is amazing. I like, we talked a little bit about some of the details being lost here and there, but like just the sketchy style that Rosmo draws in, and like the heavy black inks. Oh, it looks great. It really does look good.
It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Not like flowery pretty, but aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very shadowy.
Very shadowy.
Like heavy on the black. And, you know, we didn't really talk about that much about how it's black and white and blue, but a black and white with one color, I think, is maybe the best color scheme.
It works so well here too. He does it. He does it